World leaders and politicians are scrambling to deny allegations in the so-called Panama Papers. Millions of documents have been published by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. The papers suggest that a Panama law firm helped public figures set up shell companies, some of which were allegedly used to hide billions of dollars or illegal activity. Now, I want to get right to my next guest. Jake Bernstein is a senior reporter with the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, and he joins me now live via Skype from New York. Great to have you with us. Firstly, just explain for us, how did this information, millions of documents, become public?
This was a year-long effort involving almost 300 journalists, 109 different media organizations who have been diving into 11.5 million documents for, as I said, about a year, and it became public yesterday.
But how did this leak start?
Well, the leak originally came to a German newspaper called Süddeutsche Zeitung, and Süddeutsche quickly realized that with a leak of this volume, touching so many different countries and so many different political figures and different actors, that they needed help. So they came to the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists that has done these kinds of giant journalistic collaborations before. And ICIJ sort of brought together all of these media partners to dive into the documents.
These are huge allegations within these documents: money laundering, arms and drug deals, tax evasion, and they implicate hundreds of thousands of people, including many world leaders. How do you know they're legitimate?
Well, actually, Ramon Fonseca, who is the co-founder of the law firm where the documents come from, Mossack Fonseca, has told Panama Television that the documents are authentic. But we also obviously checked. There have been smaller leaks of this data in the past, and so we checked those leaks against the data that we had. And we also checked through court records and interviews and every possible way that we could.
That director of the law firm, Mossack Fonseca, in a Guardian report also claimed that many of the parties listed are inaccurate. They say many are not or have never been clients of Mossack Fonseca. What do you make of that?
Well, they're using an interesting distinction. Mossack Fonseca's argument has always been, we just create these companies and we're kind of like a car factory. We build the car, but once it leaves the factory, we have no control over it and no responsibility for it. But what we actually see in the data is that, in fact, they continue to have connections to these companies. They appoint directors, and those directors have to sign loan agreements. They have to sign official documents. So it's sort of a disingenuous argument on their part.
Given the fact these documents go back 40 years, some are calling this the biggest data leak in history. How significant is it?
I think it's hugely significant. I think it's going to have impact for months and possibly years to come. And hopefully it will cause governments, particularly the United States and the UK, to sort of reassess how they deal with these offshore secrecy zones.
Now, we know 11.5 million documents you and many other journalists have already gone through. Can we expect more documents to be uncovered or released?
Yeah, there will certainly be more stories coming in the coming days and weeks. So you should definitely stay tuned for those.
We will be staying tuned. Now, the Kremlin, of course, is implicated. It calls this leak a series of fibs. It says the timing of this is suspicious in light of the upcoming parliamentary elections. What are the implications?
Well, I don't know about implications for local elections in Russia. I was one of the writers on the Russia story for ICIJ, and I had no idea that there were local elections coming up. So they certainly didn't motivate me when I was working on this project. The implications are quite interesting. I mean, there has been a lot of speculation about the people around Vladimir Putin and how they've become so rich and what they're up to. The U.S. government has called it a corrupt regime, and they pointed to some of the people who are revealed in the leak as being Putin's cashier. And what we see is a network of companies and banks that shuffle more than $2 billion through these companies and banks, and it's these people are tied to Putin. We obviously don't see Vladimir Putin's name in the files, but it certainly raises some interesting questions for the Kremlin.
That's right. Putin's name is not mentioned, but there are many other world leaders who are, from Iceland and Mexico. What did you think when you got your hands on these documents?
I mean, it was amazing. It's really almost a once in a lifetime experience. I mean, to be able to see how money flows, this sort of secret hidden money flows through the global financial system in this way over time and with this kind of specificity is truly remarkable.
It is an incredible story. We will be staying tuned and following all the developments. Jake Bernstein, thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
This is the iDesk. One South Korean company is bringing fans closer to a galaxy far, far away. When we come back, how mobile Star Wars comics have become a big hit in Asia.